not responsible for the validity or accuracy of information presented on this program. Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Shealy-Sorin. Get the health answers you need from the creator of holistic medicine and the 2020 Holistic Doctor of the Year. To be a part of today's show, call 417-447-1777. Wellness Wednesday. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Shealy-Sorin.
And good afternoon, for miracles do happen.
Exactly. Today's show is incredible in the way that miracles is not something that people find incredible. The whole concept of a miracle is an interesting concept. And I'm going to ask a question for the audience, for the people. Have you ever experienced a miracle? How do you define a miracle? What is a miracle? And interestingly enough, that answer will change depending on which eyes you look through. And we'll get through that especially when we compare and contrast between the conventional and the holistic perspectives, because the short of it is that you're going to find miracles in the holistic realm. It's difficult to find miracles in the conventional realm. But let's get started, please.
Except in one major category. Major neurosurgery for acute trauma to the head. You know, my favorite case perhaps dates back to my early training. A man got his head caught between the wharf and the boat, a big boat, and it crushed his head. His head came in at least twice normal size. He would have died within an hour or two, except that I took its entire skull off the top, froze it, kept it for 3 months, and put it back in.
Wow.
And he lost only his sense of smell and taste.
That is incredible. I remember seeing that scene from Frankenstein, the movie, when I was younger. That is wonderful. And that in acute medicine and acute medical care, it can be a miracle. You can save a life, and there is something called the golden hour in the trauma. In other words, it's not exactly 60 minutes, but every second counts, especially when somebody's hurt or bleeding internally or any kind of trouble. This is acute. This is acute care, acute management. That's why. That's one of the reasons I love being in the emergency room. I'm still there after 20 years. But let's talk about the category of things that happen outside of expectations, because a miracle happens outside of expectations, especially outside of expectation of conventional medicine. And let me just kind of give you a little, a big picture on this. For example, if a person is looking through a keyhole at the world, and that's all they know, which is conventional medicine, which is physical concepts. I'm not debating, and I'm not saying it's that focusing on the chemicals, on the drugs, on the physical body, on where the liver is, so on and so forth. That's important. It's all a part of who we are. But if you're looking through that lens only, and you're not mindful of the mind, the spirit, the soul, feelings, emotions, and who we are, spiritual beings with infinite potential to heal and to achieve. If you're not aware of that, if you're not in that realm, of course, anything that happens in that realm is a miracle by definition. So we see a lot of miracles, and I'm just going to put it this way. Now, let's start kind of going back over stories. What people would say miracles in your practice. And you've been doing holistic medicine, holism now, Dr. Shealy, for, quite a few years, haven't you?
Yes. And one of our earliest memories is a man with cancer of the bladder that big, gone within 2 weeks of intravenous vitamin C.
No, that's a miracle. Most people with cancer wouldn't expect that kind of a story. Keep going, please. I mean, I'm sure, we have some time, so please, let's explore the various angles and aspects. I know there's thousands of stories. You got stories, I have stories. But let's bring out some of the more interesting things that people don't know and they should know about.
Well, you need to forgive all the bastards in your life. Holding a grudge against somebody, even if they harmed you, will never make you well.
Mhm.
Giving it to their karma, not making it yours, is important. No matter what they did, holding a grudge and playing a broken record, or how bad it is, will not create a miracle.
That's a big one, folks. That's a big one. There's an exercise in biogenics. There's other ways to create forgiveness, but it's literally called tolerance, forgiveness, and acceptance. And that one makes me cry, literally cry, every single time I do it. Not ashamed to say it. Yeah.
And of course, every thought is a prayer, one of my favorites. Every thought is a prayer. Thinking sets in motion spiritual forces to bring about change in body, mind, companions, hopes, despairs, life in general.
So, in other words, we create our life. Let me actually say this again. I'm going to say this to you. I've said it to every patient that I had today. I had a lot of patients today. You are responsible, able to respond to your life to a large degree of the outcomes. If your life is crappy, if you're sick, if you're unhappy, if you're in a relationship that's not good, if you're in a position that you're not good. Now, I understand there's external sources, external factors, and we're living in a world where external world has frankly gone to crap in a handbasket. And I'm not going to go more deeper into it. We all know about that. To some degree or another. But the fact of the matter is, when the external everything is crumbling, what is left is the internal, the self, the inner world. And the most interesting thing is, with our inner world, we get to create the external reality that corresponds to our inner world. On the same frequency, vibration, resonance, as we would say, you got two tuning forks. One operating at a certain frequency, the other standing still or doing something else. The second fork, for all the engineers out there, or anybody who wants to, the science, so to speak, the resonance in the second fork, tuning fork, is going to match the first. So this is how we create the world. This is part of the way we create, is by creating internal world first. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. But where is that coming from? That's a control center. Who is in control of the control center? Isn't that a fair question? Are you? Is the government? Is the state? Is it your parents? Is it your kids? Is it the people who annoy the living lights out of you? Who is in control of your control center? Who is controlling you? Who is writing the script of your life? Are you? Are you a co-writer? Those are all the questions to address. Are you happy or unhappy in your life? Are you seeing the miracles? Are you recognizing the good things, the amazing stuff? If you are, God bless. Enjoy. I'm with you. We'll be praying. We will always pray for that. For everyone to achieve their best. If you're not, take responsibility. What are you doing that's contributing to that state? And what are you doing to block yourself from a miracle? I'm going to name a couple of situations personally that I've encountered recently, but there's so many. One of our very good mutual acquaintance, somebody we know from a long time ago, Norm actually has known him for, we won't say the names, of course, but just for confidentiality. But wonderful, amazing guy who has basically done a lifetime of work with his hands, with his mind, done incredible stuff, and a very good friend as well, not just a client. So about several years ago, the story is he was literally crushed by a cow on the farm, crushed. He was misdiagnosed. He was literally he was blown off by the conventional system. He was told nothing is wrong. When several months later he collapsed, unable to cope from pain and weakness and literally swelling in everybody. Everybody saying there's nothing wrong. And it turned out to be complex regional pain syndrome that at some point, and he kept going, he kept working. This man kept persevering until he couldn't move a single finger. Well, that's when he dropped. And that's when he broke, mentally, emotionally. That's when he surrendered. And so since then, he's been living in this hell, basically, in this trapped in the body, in the prison of pain, in the prison of no sleep, in the prison of emotional and mental distress. And literally, and getting screwed over by the people as well around him. So you look at all those factors, and he's still around and fighting it. So I witnessed something amazing in this gentleman, and it really brought tears to my eyes. So we had a session. We worked in getting into the subconscious, getting past that. And one of the things that I noticed is that whenever we sat together, the only thing, the topic of conversation is problems, pain, over and over and over again. And just by simply being in that energy, I felt the pain, literally. My back got worse. I was just saying, please stop, please stop right now for 5 seconds. Stop. Stop talking about pain. Stop talking about problems. Stop. What are good things in your life? He couldn't do it. It wasn't seen. We did a therapeutic procedure and a regression, and we literally got to the place what I described, that breaking point. He relieved it. There was tears. There was emotion. There was a release, and all of a sudden, within an hour, after 2 years of this intractable, chronic, severe pain that drives most people to suicide, and thank God, that's not the case here. His fingers, his hands, the inflammation of his fingers that hadn't come down for 2 years, almost returned to normal size. He shook my hand with the strength of a person who has worked with his hands his whole life. I saw a smile. I heard a laugh. And this is the power of the human mind. That's a miracle. This is what happened. This is one of the examples. I'm going to bring another example in. I'm going to use my own personal example. And if I get a little emotional here, again, I'll allow myself. But this is very deep. This is very close. So in 2007, the event that set me off personally on my path to holism was when I was diagnosed with colon cancer stage 3+, and I was told I would be dead from cancer with or without chemo within 2 years, by 2009. So imagine there I was, and I've mentioned the story, so this is what drove me to become holistic. This is what opened my eyes. But recently, going through a lot of stress, I have been, I haven't been taking care of myself, and I have to admit that it's my own responsibility, my own doing, action, consequence. So I let myself go for about 6 months, to the degree that it took a huge price. I started having GI problems. I started having bowel issues. I started having blood in the stool. When I saw that, it literally kicked in the post-traumatic. And I'm not, this is very powerful for me. And, I'm pretty good with everything. I'm pretty cool with most things. I can work in the emergency room. I can handle life in general to a large degree. The head game is pretty good for me. But that literally broke me down. I literally, within the space of 10 minutes, I relieved. I went back to that same time that I was told that there's a death sentence in 2007. I even heard the name of the voice of the oncologist who told me I would be dead. And I said to myself, "Oh shit! I need to make preparations for the practice, for the transition, for my family. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna do that." And then I caught myself. It took literally 10 minutes to catch myself. And that's the key of training. Biogenics kicked in. I picked up my pulse. I picked up my heart rate, my breathing. I said, okay, something is wrong. What's going on? And then I went back in and oh shit, okay, this is what it is. And that's why you train. That's why you do autogenic training. That's why you do biogenics. That's why you use the PEMF device. By the way, I'm wearing a PEMF device. It's a Gamma right now. Absolutely awesome. I love it. Brain optimization. So speaking of here, the bottom line is I went into this situation, this dark place, and I realized that I was there before, and I don't need to be there. So I literally reset myself. I went in deep. I did a few meditations, exercises, and I literally determined I am going to find an answer to this. This is an indicator. It's a gift. It's meant for me to figure something out. And so I went deep inside, and I went through honestly, what is cancer? What is death? What if I disappear? What if I'm gone? What if I'm in pain? What if this? What if that? And all of those things. And I honestly took a look at all those things. In other words, realism. It is what it is. If this is cancer, I'm going to deal with it. If it's not cancer, I'm going to relax about it. I'm going to detach. One of our favorite expressions. But either way, it's time for me to get back into taking care of myself. So it's a message and it's a reminder and it's a blessing. And I took it as such. So I made an urgent referral to colonoscopy. And guess what? In my mind, I already determined no matter what, I'm going to be okay. I am going to be okay. And at that point, again, this is how connected the nervous system, the brain, the gut, everything. At that point, I was just having gross blood just coming out. In other words, I programmed myself into blood. And as soon as I realized that, the blood stopped almost immediately. My GI issue stopped. I mean, I had a little cramping. I literally resolved my own issue in about less than 10 minutes. And when I went for colonoscopy, the doctor asked, "What is your concern?" I said, "Just check me out. I'm probably okay." And I was. It was perfectly clear. A little irritation, but you know what? It was fine. But what I realized it's not just a head game. It's more than that. This was a minor miracle for me, and it was a major lesson for me. Now, Dr. Shealy is a miracle in himself. And let's talk about you, if you don't mind. Well, how many chances to die have you had so far? Let's talk about you. Please.
Well, I suppose the first was when I fractured my hip.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big injury. I got on a wild horse, didn't exercise him first, and I put the second foot and then I was on a rock on the opposite side with a fractured hip. But it was fixed within 24 hours, and within 6 weeks it was healed.
Oh, wow.
And I was back to racquetball.
Oh, my God. That's incredible. Now, you have quite a few stories about yours. Do you mind talking about some of them? Or most of them?
Well, my spine has been injured several times, but probably the worst is a guy who purposefully jerked my neck and dislocated my spine. My spinal cord at T1, first thoracic, was over 50% compressed with the dislocation of the spine. And I was quite weak in both legs, and I had surgery, and within 6 weeks I was well. So I've had a few episodes where surgery has reversed things for me.
I would like to bring up what happened recently since December, because actually, Dr. Shealy, I'll give a secondhand account. Dr. Shealy was as close to death as a person could be. I literally almost saw his spirit leave his body. I mean, I've had some near-death, out-of-body experiences out of unusual things. I see things and I feel things that the world opened up to me in certain ways. And I was concerned, not concerned for the death, because we all die. Death is what happens, but because I didn't want to lose my medical partner and my dad, because we know he's adopted me since, unnecessarily, stupidly. So what happened was a series of very difficult events. We're not going to go into detail, but your recovery is literally miraculous. And let's remind people how old you are. Almost 90 years of age. So at 90 years of age, Dr. Shealy is now going back to work and now starting to see patients again after all of that. Now, we're not saying everything is perfect. I'm not perfect. But if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. How do you can you talk about that a little bit on your end?
Well, from my point of view, first, of course, was I had a stroke. Never expected that. But I happened to hug someone who had a heart attack 3 days after having the vaccine. And a month later, I hugged her. And 4 days later, I woke having a stroke, totally unable to speak. And my left foot totally paralyzed. So I've come a long way, baby, and I've recovered my speech, I would say 98% at least to normal. And interestingly, my writing is not as good as my speech. I have more trouble still with writing than I do talking. But I'm still getting better.
And the other thing about this is that Dr. Shealy is not focused on the failures. Dr. Shealy is not focused on the things that he cannot do. He's focused on the things that he can do. And that's one of the reasons why we're moving forward. A similar thing happened, again, using a personal example. I was nearly paralyzed from about a year ago from over 100 mile an hour automobile accident, completely self-induced stupidity. Again, I said it, take responsibility and don't do it again. But advice for other folks, take your time driving, please. So literally within 4 weeks, I was back to the emergency room, working 24-hour shift and having driven 3 hours there. And I was told I would be walking maybe by 3 to 6 months. So literally, miracles do happen. But again, you have to be proactive in order for that. The other thing, in order for miracles to happen, you have to be open to the miracles. The mindset, the control center, can allow the miracles, which is, I'm going to say it, allow the miracles in your life. Because if you don't allow them, they will knock on the door and you're going to wish them goodbye. And let's jump in on that, please.
Interestingly, today I saw a physician who came in and said, I want to discontinue all my prescription drugs.
Yes.
He's on 5 prescription drugs. And I figured a plan. It could take 2 to 4 months to wean him off all of them. But I have a plan for weaning him off all the prescription drugs safely.
There's other examples. I remember, and please feel free to jump in with more detail, but there are stories of cancer healings. And again, we're not claiming to cure anything. We're just saying miracles happen. I can mention an example of an 80-something-year-old gentleman. I won't say the name. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He was written off by the oncology as nothing to do. Famous last words: nothing to do. Ha ha ha. All right, so there goes that. Of course, we had to do a few things. I mean, we did some intravenous vitamin C, ozone. By the way, the intravenous vitamins C is, is becoming rare now. So now we have to ration that in the clinic. So that's kind of crazy. So anyway, just saying, the world is going in a crazy place. So we need all the miracles that we can get. Anyhow, it's. We have a few minutes to finish up, so I'd like to kind of close up the topic. I know there's a lot I want to say, but the bottom line on this whole thing is, and we'll continue the conversation beyond into the second half. Summary of the whole thing: miracles do happen. There's actually a book written by Dr. Shealy, Miracles Do Happen, and you can find that on Amazon or else somewhere out there. Lots of stories, lots of examples. We have personal stories. We know many people, and you may know people with miracles. There was Mike Dobbs here, who was a miracle recovery. There's many stories. Bottom line is, allow the miracle, and in order to have the miracle come through, you have to clean the vessel. You can't have a dirty vessel and allow good things to come in. There's no space. If your mind is full of crap, you're not going to allow good things. A miracle is going to knock on the door. It's going to say hello. And you're going to say, nope, not interested, goodbye. And that's it. Allow, clean up body, mind, spirit, soul. Be your true self, enjoy life. Now we're going to go to a break. We'll come back.
And remember, expect a miracle. Expect to recover. Don't fall into this thing, oh my, I'm going. Just pray to plan to get well.
This is exactly, jumping in a few more seconds. This is exactly what I did when I realized that I was going down the wrong rabbit hole with this gut issue. I am okay. I made a decision, and there it was. Okay. All right. Now, so we're going to continue off, in other words, on the online. I do want to say that if you're watching us, if you're listening, YouTube, Facebook Live, please, excuse me, send or share your stories of healing, stories of difficulty. Share your stories. And if you had a miracle story, miracle healing, you or somebody you know, or something you want to share, let's talk about it, because miracles are all over the place. Again, it's just a question of opening your eyes and allowing them. And of course, doing the things that will be conducive to the miracle to be in the first place. And we'll, in a few minutes, we'll look at the comments, see where people are calling from, watching from. If you're not on the online, of course, then, well, it's kind of silly. We are online. We're off radio, but this is the place to be. Information. Okay. Do we have any thoughts, comments, and actually, first of all, any hellos?
Yes.
Okay. Where are people coming from? Saying hi.
New York
New York.
is the only one that they identified. Hello from New York, that's all.
Hello from New York. And then, of course, there's all the other places. It's interesting. I find it fascinating that most of our consultations, most of our work, both Dr. Shealy and myself, and like I said, Dr. Shealy is getting back into the clinicals, which is great. He's seeing more and more patients right now. We have more people from all over the world than we do from Springfield, Missouri, which is the town that we're in. And that's an interesting philosophy. It's been said. Yeah, it's been said basically that, if the guru is never from the birth town that you were born at. In other words, you're always famous somewhere else. But hey, well, what do you know? Robin, please.
We have hellos from Nevada,
Okay.
Minnesota, Taos, New Mexico, Iowa, and Los Angeles, and San Diego.
All right, keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys. This holism is holy. It's about everything. It's about the world. Now, feel free, please, to share your stories, healing stories, questions, thoughts, concerns, anything. And of course, we're open to any question whatsoever. Now, Dr. Shealy and I can talk about this topic for a long time, and I think we can bring up many, many, many examples. Now, and I do want to bring up another example, actually, since we have the time, unless there's something specific we need to address, no? Okay, let's talk about the case of a woman who's there's a couple of them that I think you have maybe better memory for this than I do. There was a woman who was shot at one point, shot in the abdomen, and became paralyzed.
Ah, yes.
And was in chronic pain and near death, or so. Let's remember that.
Indeed. And she said she had shot herself accidentally while cleaning her husband's gun. But it turned out she had been told that when she woke up after surgery. And the last thing she remembered, that we were having an argument. And the instant she remembered that, she divorced her husband physically, mentally, emotionally, and got rid of her pain.
No, that's a miracle in itself. Now, there's a number of stories similar to that, and we can keep going, but just to give the range of experiences, there was another story that you told me. Now, this was before I came into the clinic. I've been here with you for 7 years now, but I've been doing my own holistic wellness on my own as well, I should say. But there was also a woman, and please do mention more, who came in with a late stage cancer.
Metastatic throughout the body.
What kind of cancer was it?
Huh?
What organ was that?
Breast originally.
Okay, breast. Yeah.
And she'd had chemotherapy and radiation up the kazoo, and she was just sent to me for pain control. And on the 17th day of working with her.
17th. Wow.
Well, we worked with people for 3 or 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And on the 17th day, she got well. And she recognized that her difficulty with her husband was the problem. He committed suicide, and she got well.
Oh my God! Speaking of energy, we're about to come back into the radio, but holism, energy—it's everything. Yeah. Well, we are coming back in.
Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters, 92.3 KICK and 99.5 KADI.
Yes.
Now back to Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Norman Shealy and Dr. Sergey Shealy-Sorin.
And at the top of my list is every adult should be taking certain vitamins. Vitamin D3, our youth formula, our essential multivitamin mineral, and probably most people astaxanthin. Without those, you're going to fail brain and body-wise. And in Springfield, the place to go is Spring Valley Natural Foods. It's the place where I shop, and you should too, because of service. How can you find anything in 10,000 different items? Well, service. You open the door, and they come to meet you and ask you what you want, and they find it for you. they also carry all of our goodies, essentials, our youth formula, magnesium lotion and spray, bliss oils. But the important thing is they help you find it there. Now, the average American eats only 2.2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. You need a minimum of 5 and preferably 8. Now, you can add 3.5 to the paltry 2.5 or 2.2, whatever it is,
Yeah, 2.2, I think. Yeah.
with nature blessed tart cherry juice concentrate. So 3.5 plus 2.2, you get a reasonable amount. In the produce department at real grocery stores, if they don't have it, a fake store. So get your nature blessed tart cherry juice concentrate, get your antioxidants, your vitamins and minerals, and be healthy.
And you can have more than a couple of ounces if you like. It's good for you.
Yes.
Well, we are back. We are back from on the radio, and for those who are only on the radio, not on the YouTube Live and Facebook Live, you just missed wonderful information and a few more stories. And we keep talking, we keep giving information, answer questions. So if you want to optimize this radio program, get the most out of it, please join us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and just follow us, because there's a lot of stuff on the website, realholisticdoc.com. Go ahead, you want to say something?
Well, don't forget the discount.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. My mind tends to go in certain direction. But yes, I do need to mention this. There is a 15% off the entire
15%
15% off entire everything until the end of the week, midnight Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's correct.
Yes.
Midnight Sunday, and it's the code is summer 22, SUMMER 22, summer 22, and we'll mention this again. Feel free to take advantage of the things that support your body, support your mind with biogenics, the courses, but ultimately you are a spiritual being. And, these are all the tools to help you realize how great, how amazing you are. Now, please feel free to call in. We are happy to take questions. And I am actually, if you have any stories of miracles, anything you want to share, yours, maybe perhaps what you came across, or any difficulties specifically, any questions on anything, please feel free to call in, and I am happy to continue talking otherwise.
And we have a caller. You're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Shealy-Sorin. I've got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am currently in the process of trying to get my weight back down, and I'm doing really good. I've lost about 40 some pounds, and I've got 20 more I want to lose.
Good on you, mate.
Yes.
So my question is, I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 this year, and my skin is not what it used to be. So after losing that much weight, I've noticed in a few areas, like my inner thighs and stuff, that as I lose weight, my skin is not snapping back the way it used to. Is there anything you can do to help that?
I will make a few suggestions, and I know you got a bunch of suggestions. I'm going to go with the first and foremost. There's hyaluronic acid that you can apply directly. Hyaluronic acid is, it's the connective tissue stuff that you can get into the subcutaneous, but basically it supports that. Also, I'm going to say you got to have a good B complex for the energy general. In other words, Essentials does that, 2 of those. You got to have vitamin C. Vitamin C is good for the skin, and it's also essential. And we have something called Youth Formula, which is at 4 of those per day for most individuals. Vitamin D is really important for that. D3, but in the right amounts. We recommend 50,000 units weekly if you are over 135 pounds, 130 pounds or so. And then every 10 days or 3 times a month. Magnesium is very important because it's a deficiency, but also there are certain supplements that we add in addition to that with on top of the basic. Astaxanthin.
Okay. Now, Dr. Sorin, I have seen you, and I am on your use of formula and your super greens
wonderful.
And the magnesium. I have the whole regimen that I've been doing now.
Perfect.
I've seen you first in last October.
So
I have finally decided to get on program.
Oh my God. Now you're a miracle right here. So have you ever lost that amount of weight before and kept it off, 40 pounds plus?
I have. I've yo-yoed big before, and I mean, I've never been like super obese, but enough that I needed to lose about 60 pounds before, which I got maybe overly too skinny because I'm 5'10".
Gotcha.
But I didn't have the problem with my skin. I was younger.
Let's talk about skin.
My problem is I can't keep it off long term.
Oh, okay. So first of all, I'm gonna give you the conceptual framework, and then I think Dr. Shealy would really want to say something about the skin. Conceptual framework. Why do people quit? Why do people fail? There's no such thing as failure until we're dead. That's the bottom line. And you quit. You stop when you stop. When you're no longer trying. So as long as you're trying, there's many ways. Spirit, soul, mind, body. You're a spiritual being. You're a soul. You got a control center, and there's many different modalities. If one way doesn't go up the mountain, there's another path. It's so this is again, and if I'm happy to see you in the office for another visit, and then let's talk about the roadblocks and see where you are, because you're doing fantastic. Now, in terms of skin, please.
I would like to mention sweating is good. And for instance, soaking in a bathtub with magnesium crystals is good. Or in a sauna, rubbing castor oil on the skin is good before the sauna. And hyaluronic acid, of course. But I would specialize in a bit more sweating.
Okay. So
could I rub castor oil like on my looser skin areas before I work out every day when I start sweating? Would that help?
Wonderful. Yes. Good idea.
Yes.
It helps the lymph system.
Absolutely.
So that would be like cold pressed castor oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it. Yeah. It's worth a shot. When am I seeing you next? You don't have to tell me specifically here, but we have an appointment coming up, I imagine?
Yes, I had to push it out because you're so busy, but I won't see you again until September, so hopefully I'll have reached my goal by then.
Got you. And this will give us a little time. In the meantime, I'm just going to tell you what I tell all my patients. Keep going. And normally I like to see people on a monthly basis. My schedule has blown out of proportion, and now it's a several-month waiting list. Dr. Shealy is coming back into the clinical practice as he's getting better, so he can see some folks. But, the bottom line is, as you're going through this on your own, stay strong. Make sure you follow the program. If something is not working, send us a question, email, and we'll break through the obstacles. But you're on your way. Thank you.
Okay, I really appreciate it. And with hyaluronic acid, does that have anything, like I've read about retinol, and that is like, it has problems with the sun?
Not the same thing, no. Retinol is a different type of a thing. It's good for other type of things like severe acne and other conditions, but that's not what you probably want here.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the help, and we'll see you sometime later.
Stay strong, and thank you for checking in. God bless.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Mm-hmm. Do we have another call, or okay? So we continue talking. Okay, great. So speaking again, this is all about. We're talking about miracles. We're talking about things that happen that are not expected, things that are wonderful. And again, just for redefinition, anything that is outside of conventional system set of expectations, well, that's a miracle. So I'm going to say. I'm going to open up the miracle to anybody who is healthy, because you're a miracle. You really are. I'm going to open up the miracle to anybody who doesn't take any drugs, any medications chronically, and you're getting up there in your wisdom and the age. I'm going to say you're a miracle if you actually follow and you commit to a lifestyle and self-care, because that's not something that happens in our world. 97% of the people do not take care of themselves, and Dr. Shealy can use stronger words, of course, to describe that.
Well, 97.5% of people are too stupid to be alive. They miss 1 to 5 essential health habits. At the top of the list, overweight. Over 72% of people are overweight and 36% just plain fat. The number one cause of premature death is excess weight. Number 2, eating only 2.2 servings of vegetables. You might as well eat junk, period. You can't get adequate antioxidants with two servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Number 3 is exercise, a minimum of 4 or 5 days a week, and a minimum of 30 minutes each time. And, of course, sleep, 7 or 8 hours every night. People who sleep 6 hours or less have more accidents and problems than alcoholics and drug addicts combined.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have these habits. You on the air.
Hello, we got a question or a hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, I should say,
Good
Dr.
afternoon.
Sorin and Dr. Norman Shealy.
Big Bob, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, it's a miracle every time I get out of bed and I'm able to walk across the floor. I'm very thankful.
But you know what? I'm glad you see it as a miracle because you know what? You are. Thank you. God bless, man.
Two quick questions. What do you all know about this black mica that they're using for the minerals? Putting I guess it's concentrated from volcanic ash or something. I don't know a lot about it, but they're saying 83, 86 different minerals. Are we real short on minerals? And do you know about it? And what do you all recommend for minerals? And then I got another quick question after that.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about minerals, and I'll answer your question on black mica. I came across it very, very early when I started looking into wellness. I don't know as much about it as I want to, but yes, that's the key thing. It's full of minerals and the rich compounds that basically allow your body to have the building blocks for what it needs to do. Have I tried it myself a long time ago? I don't remember what happened, but again, I think it's an interesting concept. But go ahead. Let's talk about minerals.
Well, the number one mineral that's deficient is magnesium. 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium, and it's a waste of money to take it in my mouth. It's far better absorbed through the skin. Now, you need some zinc, about 40 milligrams a day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a reasonable diet with preferably 8 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, you probably don't need any other added minerals.
Oh, I'm really impressed with your lotion, your magnesium lotion. Got it at Mama Jean's, and my daughter, most of my family's on it. And I do have one other quick question.
Yes, sir.
What about having greens, the powdered greens, and what do you recommend? Because it looks like some of that stuff is loaded with the vegetables and the fruits therein, and are we getting enough of the various nutrition when we have those greens, make a smoothie or whatever else with that?
Yes, my favorite is ORAC, rich greens. 1 scoop a day gives you the equivalent of 6 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Do we still have that on the website?
Yes.
realholisticdoc.com. So should still be there. That's one way to go. Another one that I love, in addition to that, and I mix them both just because I like the combination, is something called moringa. Moringa. Moringa in itself is a wonder compound, and I think we carry that as well. And we carry most things we like. You can't find stuff in the world these days. Supply demand chains and all that stuff. And we are getting short, actually, as a matter of fact. So, but hopefully we have enough for a while. But
is that in the yes? And God bless you both with everything you're doing. Now, is that at the clinic? Is that Spring Valley? Is that Mama Jean's?
Tracy, and the store. Tracy is the manager. It's realholisticdoc.com. I wish I could remember the name, the number to the store.
417-467-2124.
And by the way, this is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for reminding me or reminding myself. 15% off on everything in the store until the end of the week. So just wanted to kind of bring it up, so that's extra benefit.
I'm going to do that right now. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Thanks,
yes,
Bob.
sir. Thank you.
And think. The single most important thing is to think health.
The biggest interesting thing is, and I'll say this again, if we can talk a little bit longer, we will. But if you have a question, if you want to call in, share a story, or talk about something, whatever is on your mind, we would love to hear from you. I want to say this. I just wrote this down, and at some point, and it really struck me. See, so right now the gas prices in the economy and the entire world is going haywire. So this literally came to me. Speaking of miracles, when the world is getting scarcer, when the resources are getting scarcer, when life is getting harder, when the pressure cooker is on, when the whole thing is squeezing down and basically, well, destroying every fiber of everything that we know as reality, as a matter of fact. The most important thing is, of course, there's the physical, but you've got to keep the mind clean. And one of the ways to keep the mind clean, of course, and I'll just say it and just get it over with, so to speak, avoid garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. Main news, media, all that stuff. If it makes you feel bad, don't do it. Whatever it is, if it makes you feel bad, if it evokes negative emotion, it's doing a lot of damage on your body. We can go through biochemistry, physiology, stress cascade. We can go through the GAS, general adaptation syndrome, and how it affects everything. 95% of all the illnesses, everything bad that happens with stress, and so on and so forth. Stress can be many different ways. Bottom line is, if something is happening externally that is beyond our control, we have to focus on the one thing if we want to do well that is within our control, and that is for each and every one of us, it's ourselves. I am responsible for me. Norm is responsible for himself. Every one of you, everybody out there is responsible for yourself. Yes, we can help, and that's why we partner with people in health. But it's not me who makes things better for you. It's yourself. There's protocols. There's things that we have for general wellness, for immunity, for blood pressure, for diabetes, for all these things, for cholesterol, for chronic pain, you name it. And there's a better way than drugs and surgery. If it's chronic, acutely, of course, address it. Bottom line is, when the gas prices, and I mean this symbolically for everything else in the world out there, are going up and everything is becoming crazy and unreasonable, the best journey, the best trip, the best thing you can do is literally go within. Go within, clean up your mind, clean up your body, align your spirit. This is one of the most wonderful times and events in our history of the world, when everything is crashing, chaos. It's a beautiful thing, especially if you look at it from the right perspective. In other words, for every birth, there's a death. The system, the healthcare system, is a dead carcass. We talked about the matrix of the healthcare system and how it's already failed. We can see it now. We can see everything that has to do with all the organizational bodies, all the governing bodies. We can see everything that's out there. It's obvious, it's clear if you want to open your eyes and ears and your heart. And this is a time to say to yourself, who are you? What do you want? Are you going to continue in everything that we've been taught in this matrix? Or are you going to create something that is healthy, easy, good? Do you want miracles in your life? If you want a miracle, you've got to go holistic, holy, truth,
and train
light,
brain.
love. Train your brain. Autogenic training, biogenics, PEMF. I mean, that's magnetic field devices, supplements. I'm not saying it's these material things as the answer to everything. There's many ways. There's many systems to accomplish the same, but it's got to be physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Without all those components, it's not going to be permanent. It won't be full. It won't be good in every single way.
Thinking sets in motion spiritual forces to bring about change in body, mind, companions, hopes, and despair. It's the key to health.
And while we do want to support your body, your mind, and every part of you, because you are a physical being. Now, I do want to remind this, and this is an exercise from biogenics. This is something that there are over 68 various exercises. And oh, by the way, guys and girls, the biogenics course is now down to less than $100. I don't know how these decisions are made. God bless the marketing folks, but and the business development, but The system that is basically worth over $1,000 is now down less than 30 to 40 bucks, available for download with everything that we put in there. So if you don't want to take advantage of that, well, that's just a gift. That's your choice. Autogenic training is a part of it. PEMF, I mean, that's a lifesaver right there for, in other words, cellular regeneration, brain optimization, relaxation. We all need all of these things. And of course, there's all sorts of supplements, things that to support the body. And as long as we have our physical bodies, we need those things. When we move on, when we transition, and again, I'm okay with death. I'm okay with life. And I literally, in this process, when I mentioned earlier, when I faced my deepest demons and all this deja vu on death and colon cancer, I literally came to terms with my own self, my true self, and I came out of it. There's a gift. There's a gift that was given to me, and I truly remembered I am okay. I am enough. I am love, and I'm loved, and I don't give a damn about anything else. If I live, that's fine. If I die, that's fine. I'm going to be happy. I'm here. I exist. I'm here. And guess what? I have arrived.
You're on the air.
Have arrived. And we have a call. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Dr. Shealy-Sorin?
Hello. Hi.
Hi, this is John Parker from Florida.
John, how are you, sir? Yeah.
Well, I'm doing well. I'm still fighting the effects of that COVID vaccine, but I'm determined to get beyond it.
Make a decision. Set in your mind that you are going to be okay. You are okay. You're just going to go through the process. That's what I tell my every client.
Yes, and I know this is your show about miracles.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I wanted to call about what happened to me 24 years ago. I drove to Springfield.
John, I just want to say,
Ohio.
Actually, stay on the radio. I want you to stay on the radio because I want us to continue after the radio. We're going to continue talking about your story, and I want to hear the full detail and the glory of it. But we have less than a minute, so I want to close it up for the radio. But you and I are going to continue on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Are you okay with that?
Excellent.
Okay,
Perfect.
sir.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
I want to hear what you got to say.
Okay.
Okay, so how much time we have, Robin?
About 20 seconds.
20 seconds. This is a show about miracles. You are a miracle. You're holy. You deserve, you have the right, you have everything within you to be happy no matter what the circumstance. And I'll tell you what, if the world blows up, I'm still going to be okay because I'm a spirit, I'm a soul, and what a show. What can I say? And we're still on. And John, you still there?
I am still here.
Yes, sir. Now, feel free, please. I want to hear it all, please.
Okay. 24 years ago, I had a chronic pain problem for 14 years. It was in my sexual area. Anyhow, I had surgeries. I had all kind of, I tried all kind of things. So I came to Springfield, and Dr. Shealy was talking about hypnosis. And the staff was talking to me about it. And actually, honestly, I really wanted to believe in it, but I just didn't understand what it was all about. Mm-hmm. So, but anyhow, to make a long story short, I went through just one hypnosis session with him. And then I drove back to, Ohio, and I've been better ever since.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about that session? What was it, do you think, that did it for you? What was the factor? What was the healing? And what do you attribute the success to?
I think when I really overcame my resistance.
Thank you.
In other words, I remember, I was pounding on the table saying, I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point where I surrendered to really be open to whatever he was going to do.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's really what it was, something within me that had to change. And then once that changed, then he could do what he, what he needed to do. And it's such a wonderful experience. So I had forgotten about calling in earlier, but I just wanted to make sure that I called in, because sometimes people don't believe these things are possible. And that's why even when I'm going through this, I don't know how much of my illness is because of the vaccine or not, but we still have to, like you said, be positive, believe every day. And that's such a powerful thing. We have many tools that we have.
And I would suggest, if you have symptoms from the vaccine, I would still try at least 5 intravenous vitamin C injections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
And
all right.
John, I love it. I love what you're saying. Thank you. Can I contribute a little to that? So we're talking about resistance to things, resistance to healing, resistance to hypnosis. Now, in the book that Dr. Shealy has written, Miracles Do Happen. That book, we're gonna take a look at that book again, by the way, because there's a powerful book in there. There's an interesting correlation. There's a factor, and this is exactly what you said. Personal example: why do most people not heal, and why do people do heal? What is a human being? Spirit, soul, mind, body, in our true nature. So if you think of them as a spirit and a soul, if you allow the control center, the mind, to get the hell out of the way, get the ego the hell out of the way, and just literally stop the narrative, stop the garbage, stop all the stuff that's keeping us. We are our own worst enemies. Stop hurting ourselves, period, in every single way, or as much as possible, and then follow through on those things that we need to do for the body. Follow the blueprint. Give the car what it needs, it's gonna run. Give the house what it needs, it's gonna do its thing. Give a human being what the human being needs. Chances are we can be healthy and happy. So, thank you.
You're so welcome, and take care, and God bless you.
Blessings to you, John.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Yeah, and John, thank you so much. There's so many stories that we'd like to share. If you have a story, please send it in. Say a healing miracle story, whether it's something that we did or something that happened in your life. Because regardless of the technique, regardless of what you do, physical, mental, emotional, regardless of what you do spiritual, prayer, meditation, whatever that works for you, everything that works for you. Get more tools. Get the tools that you need. Take care of yourself. Allow yourself the miracles and the healing that you can.
And don't forget the 15% discount until Sunday midnight.
Summer 22. Now, any questions, thoughts, comments, or anything else on the...
I have to check on there real quick. So hang on.
And which would also...
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we went to the news.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. We do have a couple of questions, just a couple. We had someone ask, what do you recommend to reset your gut biomes?
The first and easiest thing that comes to mind is, see if you agree with me, is actually one of our colleagues, Dr. Zach Bush, Restore formula. It's better than a probiotic. The concept is deeper than that, and I've personally used that, and I respect the guy.
Okay. We have another listener asking, where is this? Oh, what is best for eye health, arthritis, and cataracts?
Yes.
United States Pharmacopoeia castor oil, USP castor oil, 1 drop in the eye, each day. You can dissolve that. It might take 6 months, but what's that compared to safety?
Yes. And actually, as a matter of fact, I've had several clients who basically kept off surgery for a number of decades, and they're still doing good, even though there's a progressive cataract. But you got to start earlier. If the cataract is in a very late stage, that's the time for the procedure. Mm-hmm. And
we have a listener asking, how do you know if you're deficient in magnesium?
you are.
Well, there is a test called
You are.
intracellular diagnosis.
Okay, the question is, I want to say this again. This is wonderful, wonderful question. Everybody should ask this question if you haven't. And if you know the answer, ask yourself the question again. How do you know if you're deficient in magnesium? Okay, magnesium is usually measured in the blood in the hospital where I work and so on and so forth. It's usually within a certain range. Here's the thing, folks. Magnesium resides, it lives in the cell. It's an intracellular level. Unless you test what's in the cell, which is a scraping, you do not get an accurate magnesium level. By the time you come up to the emergency room with atrial fibrillation and all sorts of problems, body aches, not feeling well, and a million of other things that are associated with magnesium deficiency, and there's magnesium deficiency in the soil, there is no magnesium anywhere in the human consumption in sufficient amounts. So we are being starved from magnesium. And the only way to get magnesium proper is through topical. And this is something that you did actually as a patent at one point that raised it, and you showed that it raised DHEA as well, which is an anti-stress wellness hormone. So that's the best way. If you want to test for magnesium, you can come into our clinic. I mean, we can do a scraping. 80+% of people are deficient. So I'm just going to say, test if you want, but just treat. Lotion or spray. Go ahead, please. And
I was just going to say we have a bunch more hellos.
Okay, let's go through hellos. Where are the hellos from?
We have more hellos from Townville, South Carolina, Louisiana, Sparks, Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another one down here. Columbia, Missouri.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yep, that's it.
Well, remember, 50% off through midnight Sunday, and until next week, have a good one.
And don't forget to expect a miracle. Not expect. Don't forget. Let me rephrase that. Do not forget to allow a miracle. That's correct. All right. Take care.